Okay, shall we get ready to kick off then? Let's get started. Welcome to the Global Academic Championship webinar. My name's Alan, I'm your host for today, and this session is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Hub, so that means you can rewatch it whenever you need to. In this session, we're going to be taking questions throughout in the chat box. So at the end of each section, I'm going to bring questions together and direct them to the correct person. And first of all, I'm going to go through our agenda for today. We're going to do a short introduction about who we are at Oxford International. Then Cassandra, our academic manager, is going to give you a comprehensive overview of the academic guidelines. After that, we're going to move to operations with Nicole, who will take you through excursions, optionals, what students should bring, and what our behavioural expectations are set. So we really want this session to be practical and helpful. If there's anything else that you feel that needs to be added, please just ask. We're open to suggestions. So starting with our values. At Oxford International, we work to a strong set of values. They shape how we deliver our programmes and how we support your schools. Starting with passion and pride. We care deeply about what we deliver, and we take a lot of pride in creating inspiring experiences for your students. And integrity. So we do what we say, and we make sure our information is consistent and transparent and reliable. Creativity. Well, you're going to see that innovation runs through everything we do. You'll see that in this year's themes, the structures of the challenges, and the wider program experience. And care, so we look after your students and your leaders and each other. Well-being and pastoral support remains at the center of every decision we make. And lastly, smile. So we really want this experience to feel warm and enjoyable. And for us, a positive atmosphere helps students thrive and helps all of us enjoy the program. Okay, so next we're going to look at organizational structure. This is to give you an idea of how we're organized. At the top, you'll see our senior leadership team, and they set the overall direction for the junior division. Below that is our management team. That includes the program leads like myself, Cass, and Nicole, who drive delivery across departments. And the next row, that shows our sales and operations coordinators, and they support you directly from planning to enrollment right the way through to arrival day. And finally, our admissions and marketing teams, and they work to make sure that information flows clearly and that all your bookings run smoothly. Now, let me introduce today's speakers. Well, I'm Alan. I'm the Client Services Manager for the Junior Spring programs, and my role is to keep communication seamless between departments and our clients, and to ensure that expectations are aligned and your students have a memorable and well-supported experience while on site. Joining me is Cassandra, our academic manager, who leads on the academic design of the challenges and ensures everything that we do is rooted in strong educational practice. And finally, we have Nicole, who many of you have met, who handles operations and sales. She oversees the full operational landscape of our junior programs, which includes excursions, logistics, staffing, centre management, and of course the wider sales coordination that keeps the entire program running smoothly from booking right the way through to departure. Now, I'd like to talk about the aims of today. So today is all about giving you complete clarity about our programs. We're going to walk you through the full guidelines. We're going to highlight key academic expectations, the structure of assessments, and what your students will experience while they're on site with us. We're also going to be covering excursions so that you have a clear understanding of what to expect and what will be required from group leaders once you arrive. We do ask that you read the official guidelines before the future webinars and the program begins, because the more familiar you are with the content, the smoother your experience will be with us. And lastly, please ask questions. You guys know your students best, and we're here to support you in that. So you can contact us through many channels, including through today on the chat, to ask any questions you may have. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Cassandra. She's going to take you through the academic guidelines in detail. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat to gather questions for the end of each section. Okay, over to you, Cass.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alan. What a lovely interaction. So today, as Alan has explained, we're going to look at presentation events, the deep dive presentation on the Global Focus Challenge, and also the excursions, the full days, the half days, and optionals. Starting with the presentation event, we have this deep dive presentation that you create in your country before traveling to the UK, and also the Global Focus Challenge. I'm going to go one by one, but I'm also going to basically read what the guidelines say. I want to make sure that you receive the same information in print, but also here. So the deep dive presentation, this is the background. So social welfare, this is the main topic for this presentation, is a response to societal hardships, and it reduces poverty, inequality, and social exclusion, or those are their aims. It ensures that people have access to basic needs, such as food, shelter, healthcare, and it promotes social stability and economic productivity. And it supports those who are temporarily out of work, elderly, the disabled, or families in general, especially young families. And overall, social welfare plays a vital role in creating a fairer and more compassionate society. There are issues here. This is not a static system. Governments change, and so do their policies, priorities, and values. Social welfare initiatives are often created, reformed, and even removed, depending on who's on power. We're looking at how much, who, and how these are delivered. The political shifts are a key trend affecting welfare systems worldwide. As a response to these challenges, governments have historically been asked to set up social welfare programs, and these are far from being perfect. They are underfunded. The bureaucracy behind them is endless. They fail to reach everyone equally, and there's a big, very strong stigma associated to these programs. And this is why many people are discouraged from seeking support. These flaws show that society welfare systems are important. However, they require ongoing reform, political will, and constant investment so that they can truly meet the needs of society. This year, for the Deep Dive Presentation 2026, we invite you to explore how these changes in government influence social welfare. We're doing this about a city that's relevant to your context, and we were looking at twin cities this year. You should already have this information, but if not, we'll talk about it later. The presentation, your team's presentation, needs to include a short profile of the city or location, including relevant economic, social, or cultural information. So what the city is, when and why they became twins, and any past collaborations or shared events. I understand that finding this information is not easy. So if you can't find the information, then part of your presentation will include the research that you had to do, the process that your team went through to find this information and the obstacles they found. Of course, if you find it, great, focus on that. But if you're missing some information, do get in touch with us. Maybe we may be able to help you, but also include the research process in your presentation. You also need to include an analysis of how government changes have impacted social welfare in that context. So what happened in the city that you're researching about? So have the shifts in leadership or the political ideology influenced the welfare funding, the access, the design? And can you identify any trends in how the city addresses social challenges over time? And the last area that you need to include is propose a social welfare initiative that could improve or would improve the lives of those affected. So again, focusing on that city, that twin city that you've been assigned. Think about, or your team needs to develop ideas on how to improve the social welfare in that context. We encourage you to be creative in your presentation and your presentation style. You can use costumes if you want to. You can use visual aids as well. And you can include one performance. That means one song or one dance, not two. One either or. You should have received already confirmation of your assigned location. If you haven't, please email urgently and let me know that whether you have it or not, so I can send that information back to you as soon as possible. For this year, the deep dive presentation asks your students to submit ahead of the competition, not too early ahead, like just a day or two after you land in the UK. By sharing this with us, by submitting the deep dive presentation before the competition event happens, we're hoping that this allows your team to focus on the rest of the program, the rest of the competitions, and not having to worry about this event for which you have all of this time to get ready for. The visuals that will be projected must be submitted by email on the 30th of March, 2026. You will receive more information when you arrive on your first day, because we haven't given you the email address where you have to submit this, but you will be given that at as late as arrival day, no later than that. At a glance, this is what the deep dive presentation requires. So preparation, you choose who prepares, how many people, 2, 3, everybody. But presentation on stage will be a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 8 students. The length is 8 to 10 minutes, but remember that we have a 10-second grace period both before and after. So any presentation that is between 7 minutes, 50 seconds and 10 minutes, 10 seconds will carry no penalty. The dress code, as I mentioned, is costumes are allowed but not required. And we expect some visual support. It could be a projector, PowerPoint presentation, for example, a poster, or any other necessary visual aids. If you are using a computer, your file needs to be compatible with Windows. Yes, and the projection will have text, maybe, but it has to be limited text, bullet points only. You can use images, you can use videos, but remember, the information shared via video will not be taken into account. The videos will be used, will be judged as visual aids only. If you want to use any physical props, you can, as long as they don't damage the property and they don't inconvenience the following team in any way. And students are allowed to use cue cards. Each team member on stage is allowed to use 1 cue card with them with a maximum of 5 words. These cards will be shown to the judges prior to presenting. On site, we will have a Windows laptop so that your teams can attach their presentation, a USB stick, for example, on that laptop. You will have a projector, which is linked to the previous laptop, and it will also include audio reproduction, and you'll have access to 3 microphones. There are some limitations. We cannot have teams using their own laptop because this will impede and inconvenience the next team as well. The configuration of the projector will be done with the 1 laptop that we have on site for you. So changing and reattaching new laptops will probably mess everything up. And you need your teams, all teams will need to submit the presentation as explained previously. The penalties for this one include time limits as indicated, the participation rule, more than 1 performance. So if you use 2 songs or a song and a dance or 2 dances. If the cue cards have more than 5 words, there's also a penalty. Submitting the visual aids late or arriving late to the competition venue will also carry penalties. And this is everything for the deep dive presentation. Any questions, please write them on the chat box. I'm going to move on to the Global Focus Challenge, which is part of our Mystery Challenge series. So everything that you need to do to complete this event will be revealed on site. Today, we can tell you about more or less the logistics of the challenge. This is a full-day event, and it will require participants and teams to work together to demonstrate their language proficiency in an hopefully unexpected and engaging manner. So the morning is divided into 4 stages, as you can see. First, we'll have the review of the brief and the question, and we'll also have time for Q&A. We'll have stage 1 preparation, which will be about 20 minutes. Stage 2 will take a little bit more, so about 40, and then stage 3 preparation and submission. These timings are approximate, and they may vary, and they probably will vary. But the stage 3 will be no less than 90 minutes. Ideally, in this scenario that we have here is 2 hours. It will depend also on how long the Q&A is for the questions. If they finish stage 1 before earlier than 20 minutes, they'll have to wait. But stage 2, for example, as soon as they finish with stage 2, they can start stage 3. After lunch, we'll have the presentations. Participants will be tasked, with completing a specific assignment during the morning session, which is why we have these different preparation areas. And before lunch, they'll submit, and then for the presentation, we should be ready to go with our USB sticks. Every team is required to bring a functioning laptop and a USB stick. I'm sure that you by now have clicked that we will have to use the Windows compatible devices only. Definitely the final product will have to be Windows compatible. The USB stick that you all have to bring, at least one per team, but please have a backup saved somewhere. This USB stick must be labeled with the name of the school. Upon submission, the teams will give this USB stick to the academic events manager, and they will keep it safe until presentation time. So then it's easier to see that if it's Oxford International turn to show their presentation, I will have a USB stick with the name Oxford International School. The whole team must be at the venue for the duration of the competition. So from the very beginning, when we reveal the brief until the very end of the presentation time, everybody needs to be in the venue. At a glance, this is what we have. So task 1, everyone can participate for the preparation, but task 2 is limited to 4 people. Everybody else will be there, and there will be 4 participants with special tasks for the second part of the preparation. Going back to the whole team for preparation part 3, and on stage to deliver the presentation, we'll have a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6 students to present. Obviously, these IDs will be shown or collected to make sure that we have the exact number of people and no more or less or fewer, sorry. The length of the presentation will be between 5 and 7 minutes, and the dress code is formal. So you can use your school uniforms or you can use business attire. The permitted support, as I said, everybody needs to bring a laptop and a USB, and you can present a PowerPoint document, a presentation with a maximum of 5 slides, and that includes the title as well. As mentioned, everything needs to be compatible with Microsoft Windows operating systems. On the text side, the slides can only contain bullet points with limited text, as before. Images and videos will be used as visual aids, and any information shared via video will not be taken into account. Similar as before, if you want to use physical props, as long as they're not damaging the property and they don't inconvenience the following team, you can bring and use anything you need. Again, students can use cue cards on stage, 1 per student and a maximum of 5 words as well. And these cards will be shown to judges before presenting. The equipment available on Sunday, same as before. We have a Windows laptop, and you will have a projector linked to that Windows laptop and 3 microphones. The limitations are exactly the same. I know you're bringing your 1 laptop, but this laptop will not be used to run the presentation. That's why we have a USB stick. So you have to submit the presentation as previously explained, and these need to be submitted saved in a USB stick. And the submission, as it says here, needs to happen at the end of the 90-minute allowance. Could be 2 hours, as I mentioned earlier, but it will definitely be 90 minutes. So before we break for lunch, that USB stick, clearly labeled with the name of the school, needs to be submitted to the academic events manager. The penalties, again, time limits as indicated, participation rule, late arrival, and failure to submit the audiovisuals on time. Within the time limits, obviously, same as before, we always have a 10-second grace period. So anything that is between 4 minutes 50 and 7 minutes 10 will be okay, and will not incur any penalties. So that's the Global Focus Challenge. Again, any questions you may have, pop them in the chat box. And I'm going to move on to question time. Both of these presentations will be followed by unassessed question time, as you can see. The GAC Deep Dive presentation and the GAC Global Focus Challenge. This is to promote audience interaction with the presentation team. The competition host will be starting the questions, and then we'll open it to the floor. And the questions that we want you guys to ask is about the team's personal experience while preparing the presentation. So what was their influence? What did they have any kind of personal interaction with someone, especially if you're looking at Twin Cities? I may give you a little bit of a hint, but you may want to talk to someone in the council in your town. These are questions that need to be respectful and supportive as well. And only participating students are allowed to ask questions. So group leaders may want to pass questions over But if we see that this has happened, the group leader that does it will be expelled from the venue. And repeat incidents, teams may also lose 2 points of their overall score. So that's the unassessed question time. Like I said, both of these competition will have unassessed question time. But we also have assessed question time for the deep dive presentation, only for the deep dive presentation. These will last 2 minutes and will be led by the judges only. And this one, assessed question time, will happen just before the unassessed question time. So as soon as you finish your deep dive presentation, the judges will have 2 minutes to actually ask you questions. And they will be on the following areas: clarifications of facts, research methods, personal opinions and reflections, not on accuracy of the facts presented. The evaluation will follow the criteria described here. You have all of this in the guidelines as well. And the overall score for the category will be based on the presentation rubric together with the question time assessment. Once the judges have finished their question time, assessed question time, the competition host will open it to the rest of the audience. And just to finish, earlier this last week, I think it was last week, we shared with you some academic resources. So we've created a teacher's guide with some team building activities that will allow you to practice the skills relevant to each of the competition events. We've created this because we are aware that this year there's not much interaction with the team unless you, the group leader, wants to, the teacher, unless you want to. The students will meet to create one of the presentations and they don't need to meet again. So we want to give you the chance to build up your teams to make sure that they all have team building skills and they work as one. So we've created this academic resources, this teacher's guide that you can find on the hub. We will be sharing different areas with you at different times. You have a calendar here. So the next one will come out next Monday on team coordination. This is the first one that we've published, the research and analysis skill that you can find on the DAC. This QR code here will allow you to find it, but this is something that you already should have access to on your computers, hopefully. And this is basically divided into chunks so that it gives you time to practice with your students and also before you move forward to the next round. As you can see at the bottom, we have 2 debate special entries, one about persuasion skills and the second one about turn taking. And hopefully all of these activities will help you both build your team, but also practice those very important skills to successfully complete all of the events. And Alan, that's it for me. Any questions that you've received?
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Cassandra. We've got some really
Welcome.
good questions here. So starting with, do we have to focus only on the Twin City or also in our city? And do we have to explain how they link?
You can definitely explain how they link and how and when they became sister cities, twin cities. But the focus of the 3 questions that you have to answer will mainly be about the twin city. So you focus on your twin city. Let me go back, actually. So the profile is about your twin city. The analysis will be about the twin city and the proposed social welfare will be about the twin city. In this area here, this is where you can talk about your own city and how these, the 2 cities have been linked. And especially here, if there have been any collaboration, any shared events that your city may have hosted or that the twin city may have hosted for you and your city. But everything else should be about the twin city and not your city.
Okay. The next question, are we required to send the presentation by email and in a USB stick or only by email?
So these are 2 different things. This one here needs to be submitted by email. This is the deep dive presentation. This will be submitted by email on this, this will be the deadline, the 2359 minutes on the 30th of March, 2026. This is, you're already in your center by this. You probably arrive either the 29th or the 30th, if I remember correctly. So this one will be submitted by email. The one you submit through and via USB stick will be the global, let me go forward, this one, the Global Focus Challenge. This is the one where we ask you to bring a functioning laptop and a USB stick, because everything happens on the same day. There's no time to email, check emails, print, save, etc. So it's quicker if you have a USB stick. As you can see here, we finish at 12:30, and you have to submit, and then at 2:00 onwards start the presentations. So checking emails, downloading, making sure that it works will take a little bit longer, and that's why we ask you to bring a USB stick for this one, for the Global Focus Challenge.
Okay. The next question is, can they hold the microphone or do they have to stay on the stand?
They can hold a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can move around,
Cool.
especially. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last question was, why are some dates highlighted there on the presentation?
Where?
I think that might have been about the resources, perhaps.
Oh, I actually don't know. There's nothing
Yeah,
special
there
about
we
this.
go,
I
on the
think,
resources,
no,
yeah.
it's on the resources. So I think the program I used to create these uses American dating. So this is obviously UK. So this is the day, this is the month. So when it understands that is date, day, month, it highlights. The other ones, obviously the US thinks that this is the month and there are no month number 18. But that's the reason. I
Right.
didn't know how to unhighlight them. Sorry.
We've got another question just come in. So what happens when a home city and its official twin city show no evidence of collaboration?
Well, that's part of your foundings and your research. If there's no evidence of collaboration, that's something that your students will have to explain then.
Okay. And anyone got any more questions for academics before we move on to operations? And here we go. So for all students who don't have a formal uniform, can they wear formal attire in the presentation?
Exactly, yes. So those presentations where we ask students to wear to dress as formal dress code is either the uniform or any kind of formal attire, especially business attire, is what we recommend.
Okay. And the collaboration has to be, the collaboration has to be regarding welfare.
So when you're talking about your twin cities and how they collaborate, it doesn't have to be about welfare. That's the introduction to the city. So it could be in my experience with twin cities, is usually something a little bit more social, a little bit more relaxed, and they meet to get to know each other. And it doesn't have to be on, I mean, many times it is, but it doesn't have to be on serious topics. When you talk about welfare, that's when you're looking at the specific city and you're looking at how the government has changed, how those changes have affected social welfare, and then looking at the suggestion for a welfare improvement.
Super. Any more questions to come in for Cassandra here? Or I think we're ready to move on. Yeah.
Okay.
So brilliant. Thank you so much, Cass.
My pleasure.
Now we're going to hand over to Nicole for the operations segment. So Nicole's going to cover excursions, optionals, what to pack, and behavioral expectations. And as before, we will ask questions at the end. Okay, so over to you, Nicole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. And thank you very much to everyone for being here today. I'm looking at the list of participants in this webinar. It's very nice to see names that we recognize and also new group leaders and new school adding into this competition. So thank you very much for attending. We know the academics are the star of the program, and that's the reason why we do these webinars, but please bear with me. I'm sure the new optionals that we have, the excursions, and everything that we have planned for you for 2026, you will be more than happy with our proposals. So I will talk a little bit about our trips while the program is running, and also the traditional optional activities that you can book in case that you want to personalize your program a little bit more. So starting with the extended full day trips, the Global Academic Championship program will have 3 full days into London. We like to call them extended full days because you will depart your center at 9 o'clock in the morning and you won't be back until 10 p.m. or midnight. So as you can see, you will have plenty of time to see everything that you wish to see in London, plus enjoy the activities that we already include in your program. So for 2026, we're including the West End musical, for all the students. Which musical? I don't know. Sometimes we receive emails, but please remember, we will let you know when you are at your center. But we're always working with the best musicals to try to get the best tickets and shows available for your students. We will also include the entrance to the London Eye and a professional walking tour. When we say a professional walking tour, we mean we will hire a tour company that for one day will grab all of our students in different small groups and we'll take them around London, giving a complete explanation about the monuments and the places that we're visiting. So whenever we have time with the activity leaders, these activities will be more photo tour activities that we will speak to on another webinar. That will also be one of our changes for 2026. We will have an entrance related to the theme, which also is something new and exciting. We won't be able to reveal this, until you're in the center, because as you know, some of the competition, you won't be prepared them before traveling, so we cannot give you any more details in advance. And all of your itineraries will have free time. So please, once that you get your sample program, or even right now, if you have any idea of specific places that you want to go, please email us at springoxfordinternational.com. Let us know if you wish to see certain things so we can already include these in your program before you arrive to the UK. Then we have the full day trips. As you know, you have 2 full day trips, one to a university city that could be Oxford, Cambridge, and one to an additional city that will be Brighton or Windsor. The city that you will be visiting will depend on the center that you're going to be competing. So it's nothing, we don't do this in a special way. It's just the city that is closest to the center that you're going to be competing is the city that you're going to be visiting. We won't spend 4 hours in a coach journey to Brighton if Windsor is just 1.5 hours away from your center. So I hope this makes sense. In Brighton or Windsor, you're going to have a walking tour and trying to relax, because these cities are designed for students to have more of a enjoyable time, not so busy like London where you're walking around 24/7. And also these cities are ideal for students if they want to do a little bit of souvenir shopping. It's better and more accessible price-wise than London souvenir shops. And the university city, that could be Oxford and Cambridge, will include a professional walking tour, which I think all participants will enjoy, to know a little bit more about the importance of these historical cities. And then they will enjoy a little bit of free time to go back to the center around 6 p.m. to have dinner. So that's why these are full days and not extended full days. So you come back to the center to have dinner at the canteen. Then the optional excursions. So we are kind of putting on your feet all the optional excursions that you can do while visiting our program. We will share with you a brochure that is called the Spring Optional Excursions 2026. And you're going to be able to see everything that you're allowed to book with us, everything that you can see in case that you see an attraction that you would like to go and visit with your students. So in this booklet, you're also going to be looking at options in Brighton and Windsor and other places that you're visiting, but mainly London is a place that has more attractions, and also is a place you will be spending more time in if you want to add an additional visit. And something brand new that we're doing is, I understand, obviously, all of us wants to be winners. I know that in certain ways, all the participants are winners and they do an amazing job, but we have the traditional optional day during the grand finals in case a team didn't move on to the grand final day, where we're going to be offering an excursion to Thorpe Park. This, I think, is very exciting for the students according to the age. The weeks that they've had in the UK, very busy, working hard, doing their best, presenting. So I think a day of losing themselves, having fun, it's a nice way to close in the program if they didn't move on. So these are the updates that we are bringing into the optional excursions for 2026. Thank you. About what to expect on these excursions, please make sure you have a conversation with your students before you travel to the UK. We always recommend, besides having the academic preparations, to make sure that the students have an understanding about the pound, what's the conversion against the money in their country, to avoid them spending 20 pounds in a pen and things like that. So please add into your conversations before traveling what to expect when students are in excursions. I know everybody's very excited about this day. They want to make the most of it, but sometimes they think on a holiday when they go with their parents that they can just take breaks, sit down in different coffee shops and eat whenever they want to. Here we need to follow on a schedule to make sure that we achieve the program that we have designed for you. So there's going to be a lot of walking. So please make sure your students know that. There's going to be limited time for pictures also when we're moving from one point to another. We'll do our best to make sure that everybody gets that picture that they want to post on social media, but we just need to be conscious that we're traveling as a group. So if we keep together as a group, we're all walking at the same pace, we're not missing meeting points and everybody's punctual, then we can achieve everything and make sure that the students have more time to take these pictures and enjoy the day. There's going to be a lot of crowds. London is a very popular city. And obviously when we are also visiting, London is also going to be holidays. So we need to add that in consideration. And of course, for the London Eye, the musical, we will have to queue. So let's just keep that in mind. We cannot just run and try to get there at the exact time that our ticket says that that's our entrance. And we also need to be conscious that we probably will have to queue for 30 minutes or 40 minutes to be able to entrance to the London Eye or to the musical. And of course, the use of public transport. The public transport all around the world is different. In some countries, we're not used to use the public transport. We're more used to our parents driving us everywhere. But obviously here, we're going to be using buses, underground, whatever transportation we can use to make sure that we go to the places that we want to visit. So let's just also have a conversation about what to expect. What are the social rules on public transport in London, and how to keep the students safe. About what to bring, this is just obviously a small list of recommendations from our experience. For a reusable water bottle, I think it's a must. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a lot of shops in places where we're walking around. And if we need to stop every hour because the kids are thirsty, then that's going to delay everything. So it's just better if they bring a reusable water bottle. We fill that before we leave the campus. And then if we need to, during central London, we will be able to find a water fountain somewhere to refill the bottle. Sensible shoes. So please, again, speak to your students, trainers, anything that they know they can walk all day and they won't get hurt. I know some of the female contestants would love to pack amazing boots, high heels, coats, and everything, so they're not wearing the same clothes in every single picture they post on social media. But we just need to make sure they understand how difficult it could be walking around in London in those outfits. Be ready for all types of weather. This is not lie. You never know what to expect. You can leave the center with a lovely sunshine. By the time you arrive to London, it's cloudy and it's raining. So let's just make sure that we're prepared and we bring different items that we might use depending on the weather. But it's not always that bad, I promise. Last spring, we had a lovely, shiny 2-week program. So let's hope for the same next year. The next slide, Alan, please. Thank you. About the behavior during excursions, again, if you can add these with your students before traveling to the UK, we will appreciate it. We will, of course, kind of like remind these to the students when they are at the center in the coach going to London. The activity leaders will speak to them, but it's just very important that they understand that they need to listen to the activity leader and the tour guide whenever they're doing the professional walking tour at all times, because majority of the times when they're not listening, they're on the phone, they're taking pictures, they obviously not paying attention. So that means they might not be paying attention to traffic. The traffic in London comes from opposite ways that we're used to. So there could be a lot of chaos. So we just need to make sure the students understand when we're walking, we're paying attention. When we stop and we give them time to take pictures, then that's the time for them to chat, take pictures, and not be paying attention to their activity leader. Whenever we're using the coaches to go from the center to the excursions, just to make sure that we respect, obviously, the driver and the coach per se. So if the rule is no drinking and no eating, then we don't eat and we don't drink. If the rule is that we need to wear the seatbelts, then please we wear the seatbelts, etc. Train stations, just basic rules, again, to make sure that students don't jump on the train alone if they haven't gotten the instruction from the activity leader to go on that underground, and to make sure they're always standing behind the yellow line. These are very simple things, but again, when we're excited, when we have never been in that city, it's very easy for the students to carry on and not pay attention. So probably we give them a little bit of an induction before traveling, they will be more conscious. So when we repeat this in London, it will make more sense to them. And when we go to the musical, very, very, very important just to be respectful. The rules are the same for any musical: no phones out, no taking pictures or filming, no talking. So let's just make sure that the students understand this, because the last thing that we want is for the staff at the theater to ask our groups to leave because we are not behaving. And I think that's all from me, unless you have any questions.
Yeah, anyone got any questions for Nicole? Thank you very much. That was super useful. So no questions coming in about operations at the moment. We'll maybe give it a minute. And I can vouch for the weather last summer. It was beautiful. Okay, so no one's got any questions on the operations side. Of course, you can always email us or chat to us through the hub about any questions you may have. And we'd really like to, are they not allowed to bring an umbrella? They can bring an umbrella, of course. I would suggest that they maybe don't you bring it. Nicole, I'll hand over to you for that one, actually. There you go.
Yes. They're allowed to bring an umbrella, probably just thinking that they're kids and they might leave it somewhere and they might lose it. Probably like an outfit that they can wear will be better than an umbrella. Also taking into consideration that the winds in the UK sometimes do not help, so the umbrella is not the best item to carry, but they can bring an umbrella 100%.
Great. Another question's come in. So are you able to share the prices for the optional tours with them?
Yes, we will. So as soon as your group is 100% confirmed, what we do, the next step is to send you all these optional activities that we have for you to book. So let us know if your group is 100% confirmed on the final number that you told us when you registered, and then we will proceed to send you the rest of the information.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else got any questions for Nick while she's here? And like I said, you can always contact us on the hub by email or speak to your sales representative, who will be happy to pass on any questions. We'll follow those up. So we're really keen to keep on improving these webinars. I'd really like you to tell us if there's anything you'd like us to cover in the future. You pop it in the chat just now. You can also contact us through the hub, through your sales coordinator, or by emailing the team directly. And the email address is spring@oxfordinternational.com. We're really here to support you through your full journey and make sure your students have the best experience with us. And lastly, thank you very much for all joining us today. We really appreciate it. As discussed, this recording is going to be uploaded to the hub shortly. And if you have any questions afterwards, you should know where to find us. Okay. And lastly, we really look forward to welcoming you and your students very soon. Thanks very much.